Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about breakfast, countries, and we have part 3 of our interview with Stephen Donavan from the Hornchurch Round Table.
Welcome to the Kindness Project, take 2. We got interrupted by a small child looking for a jar of rocks when we started to record earlier on. That small child with a jar of rocks has now left the vicinity of the recording studio.
AKA the dining room table.
AKA our lounge. And we can actually start recording the podcast. But you know what? We've done this before, chaps, haven't we? We have started a podcast recording where it's been absolute gold, and then I'll worry about whether we can duplicate the conversation last time. So the conversation started with Russ telling us that Norfolk should be like the Vatican City and its own independent country. Tell us more, Russ.
I'm going to use this podcast as a platform to start a petition for it.
Are you using a podcast highlighting people doing amazing work in the world to start a revolution inciting an own independent Norwich-based state?
As people should know, all you do is host and Charlotte hosts, but I do everything else, so I should get something out of it.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for the Twitter hashtag at Independent Norfolk.
See,
Look at Russ's. He's going to start that Twitter
hashtag the independent state of Norfolk.
at the independent state of Norfolk is something that Russ should start.
We've seen it so many times before. Free the Weatherfield one, free Nelson Mandela. I'm starting a free Norwich Norfolk.
Sorry, hold on. Free Norwich, Norfolk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Norfolk is just a place in Norwich. You can't free both.
No, Norfolk.
Or is that just a bloke with a really weird East Anglian name? What's your name? Mr. Norwich. My name's Norwich. What's your surname? Norfolk. Mr. Norwich, Norfolk. Pleased to meet you, Norwich, Norfolk.
Well, it wouldn't be Mr. Norwich if he was Mr. Norwich Norfolk. It'd be Mr. Norfolk.
He'd be
Norwich.
Sorry, it'd be Mr. Norfolk Norwich. Let me try again.
Market employer, I might change my name by default.
Norwich Norfolk.
Right, my name's Norfolk. Norwich Norfolk. 008, licensed to eat mince pies and what do you do? What do you do really well with Norfolk, Russ? Mustard.
Yeah, mustard.
You do a mean mustard, don't you?
Potato.
What?
Potato.
If you're picking places in the UK, surely Yorkshire does a better potato.
I don't think so.
Really? You reckon Norfolk is the place for the potato?
I tell you what, we do a lot of rapeseed down here. You know, rapeseed oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the.
Got some good calves.
They've not got the best. London's got better calves than.
I know. I'm trying.
We'll try.
Fire. That's not fair. Each to their own. Just because you live in London don't mean you have to badmouth our calves.
No, I'm not badmouthing your calves. I'm saying if you had a league table of calves, the one in your little village of Swaffham wouldn't come in the top 10, would it? And there's places in London, for example, if you've never been there, give it a go. The Breakfast Club is one of my particular favourites. What do you mean no? Don't badmouth London calves, mate.
That's great.
You stand around independent country of Norfolk.
Gracie Spoon is nothing like the Breakfast Club.
Exactly, and that's why I'm going to pick the Breakfast Club. So tell us about your greasy spoon. What's your greasy spoon called?
Peddler's Hall Calf.
Peddler's Hall Calf. And what's their speciality and how much does it cost?
Double bubble.
Go on.
And it's $8.20, I think.
$8.20. What do you get for $8.20?
2 sausage, 2 bacon, fried slice, black pudding, bubble and squeak.
Bubble and squeak.
No, just not.
Now that is false advertising right there, isn't it, Charlotte? What do you reckon?
I don't like bubble and squeak.
Yeah, but what's it called again, Russ?
2 eggs.
Now, what's it called again?
Double bubble.
Double bubble.
Right, so if
How
it's
many
in-
bubble and squeak do you get, Russ?
One bubble and
What?
squeak.
One.
So no. Let's clarify. Is it just a large bubble and squeak, or is it just an average size?
Do they, is it a large bubble and
Large
squeak they're
bubble.
chopping too?
It's
So
a
is
large
it
bubble.
is it double the size? Is what the name indicates.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. See. It's
So
not
in
awesome.
a single bubble, do you get a single bubble and squeak? Is the bubble and squeak smaller in a single bubble?
I feel like whacking you over the head with a bubble and squeak plate now.
Right. So how big is a bubble and squeak in a single? Can you get a single bubble breakfast in the Peddler's Hall
No.
Cafe? Right. Okay.
That's just called the peddler's breakfast.
Peddler's breakfast.
That's
And-
one bacon, one sausage, one egg, and all the trimmings.
They've missed a trick, haven't they? I think a double peddler's breakfast should be a tandem peddler.
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. It should be they've missed the peddler reference. If you've got a double peddler, instead of calling it double bubble, you call it a tandem peddler.
Next time I'm in there,
If it was the Breakfast Club, they would have thought of that, wouldn't they?
next time I'm
Aye.
in there, I'll suggest that to them.
Sorry, that copyright agrees names 2022. That one they can't have it.
I'll
I
make
can't have
sure they know that I come up with it. Don't you worry.
Right, and clearly the double bubble's not being advertised with factual correctness at heart. What it should be categorised as, Russ, is the heart attack waiting to happen breakfast, because that
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
massive.
Yeah, it is a big breakfast.
Is it?
So is it more like a brunch, and then you just only have 2 meals for that day?
Well, not necessarily.
Oh yeah, 4 of them.
That's a light lunch for someone.
Oh, but Russ, we are Russ. What am I doing? Sorry, Russ, you're clearly not a butt. I meant the words.
B-U-T, not B-U-T-T.
Yeah, exactly.
T-T.
However, Russ, let me just. But Russ, I should never have started a sentence with but Russ. I'm so sorry, Russ. However, Russ, that's what I meant. But Russ,
I'll quit.
However, Russ, you are on a bit of a fitness thing at the minute. Tell us a bit about that.
I've been going to the gym,
Yeah,
pumping some iron,
pumping some iron. Okay,
and
how's it going?
I've started a class.
Yeah. All good.
Ah.
What's going on in your life? We've talked about Russ. Now I want to talk to Charlotte.
I'm packing.
It seems you've been packing for about a month. Do you want to tell everybody? I mean, I know we talk about on the podcast quite a lot, but Charlotte is off.
I'm buggering off.
She is. She's off to university in a week and a bit's time.
Yeah.
Off to arguably, and I say arguably, the second best country in the UK. I don't know. Wales is quite good as well, isn't it? Wales is nice.
Anyway,
The third best country in Ireland, though, Russ. Ireland's quite good, isn't it?
Sorry, let me just clarify. I've been Wales once. I didn't enjoy it.
What?
Russ, can I just clarify? This is going out this Thursday from recording.
It is, yeah.
So, listeners listening on release day, I will be leaving in a week. So I will probably be there by the time the next episode comes out.
And I don't want to make your time up.
No, I'll get there on the Anyway,
I don't want to make your time up in Scotland more difficult than it needs to be. But out of all of the countries in the United Kingdom, where would you put Scotland?
first.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Interesting. How would you rate the countries in the UK, Raz?
Well, knowing
Norwich first.
Norwich.
knowing what we know.
Norwich, and then every other country second.
I've never been to Scotland. I didn't enjoy Wales when I went there.
When did you go to Wales?
I was 15. I went with Uni Links,
Right.
and it was terrible.
Why was it terrible? There's a story here, Charlotte. Go on, why was it terrible?
they took me caving one day.
We talked about caving on the podcast before.
Yeah,
I don't understand caving as a
they
concept.
took me caving. I hated every minute of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that,
It was
Russ.
proper caves. It wasn't like one of them faux caves that are soft when you touch them. It was like cracks like that you had to get through.
Right. Number one.
Sorry, I'm showing you quite small cracks.
What are you showing us again?
That's butt rust all over again, isn't it?
That ties in, no?
Butt Russ shows us his quite small cracks. I don't know. Oh, Russ, you just walk into this stuff. You know what, though? You talk about faux caves. The caving I did, which wasn't when I was 15. I'd never done caving. I did it when I was the grand old age of 44. It was last year. And they're not soft faux caves. They are made out of hard plastic because they're meant to give you the experience of proper caving, not being under a mattress. And I agree with you. I mean, caving and as you two know, I like a adrenaline fueled experience.
Yeah.
I've done sort of running and sort of kayaking and jumping and skydiving, all that sort of stuff.
I see no purpose to caving though. No sort of end goal.
Yeah, the end goal is to get out, isn't it? That's the end goal.
But you could go to an escape room and experience that.
Well, it depends on where that escape room is. Because Charlotte, and I don't know if we've spoken about this we have spoken about it on this podcast before, drags me to Eastern European cities and drags me to the edge of town for escape rooms. And that might be as scary as caving, Rush. But would you do caving, Charlotte?
No.
Have you ever done caving?
No. You remember, I can't remember where we were. It might have been Cornwall. And there was this, I think it was like a museum or something. And you had to go down into the cave.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't breathe. So I'm not doing that.
The trouble with caving is it's not for people with our size.
So are we the same size?
Our figure.
Big boned. We're too big boned for caving.
Yeah.
We're too big boned for caving. I've got big bones.
I'd be worried I'd get halfway through, then my cracker gets stuck.
But Russ, anyway, on that note, I'd like to ask a question to get us out of a lot of trouble as we get
out of this cave we've got ourselves
out of this cave we seem to have climbed into, but now can't get out. And that question is: if somebody played you in a movie about your life, who would it be? We would absolutely love to answer that question. But before we do that, who would you, Russ, think would play you, but who would you really like to play you?
Danny DeVito.
You think? I mean, Danny DeVito. You're in your early 40s, and Danny DeVito's in his early 80s. Anybody younger?
I don't know, but I don't watch many movies, so I wouldn't.
Is there a celebrity?
Who's that geezer that goes in the water? Oh,
Aquaman.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Is that the guy who plays Thor?
Hold on. No, that's not
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. Give me another 25 years in the gym, and I might look like Jason Momoa.
Sorry, the guy who plays Aquaman.
Aquaman, yeah.
My thinking is that's stunned silence right now.
David Jason, maybe. But I don't know if Jason Momoa. I mean, it's a great choice. I think I'd pick Jason Momoa as well. Who would you pick for you?
Don't know. I don't know a lot of actors, do I?
Don't you?
No.
How about one of the ones from one of your favourite shows, like I don't know, Heartstopper or Criminal Minds? Who would you? How about Who's the woman who sits behind the laptop in Criminal Minds? Go and see her. Who
Can't
plays?
remember actor.
She might be good. No.
No,
Who would you go for?
I don't know.
Can't think. All right. Who would you go for us? I tell you, I think for us, there's only one choice. Now he's brought it up. Jason Momoa. I just think Russ and Jason Momoa separated at birth. I mean, what I love about Rose's choice is he's gone from 80-year-old not been to the gym ever, Danny DeVito.
I'm sure Danny DeVito's been to the gym. Don't be rude.
He did. I'm pretty. He went there in the film Twins that he played with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm pretty sure he did. But that was to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger do a bit in the gym. All the way through to Jason Momoa.
There's another one that'd play me, aren't he?
Right.
I'll be back.
I'll be back when I look like Jason Momoa.
I reckon you'd say I'll be back when I leave the house.
Right.
I reckon, like, if Arnold Schwarzenegger played either of you, they'd have to put at the beginning that, like, this film is an extreme dramatization.
No, it's like one of those, like, sort of when they're like an epic biopic of somebody's life, and they just like they're quite an ordinary looking bloke like me and you are, Russ.
Yeah.
And they have somebody like massively handsome.
We already know that you're a star in your local area.
I was out with some friends on Saturday, and we met a couple of people. We were on the Bermondsey Beer Mile, so we were having a walk up and down the Bermondsey Beer Mile, having a chat with a few people. Very good place if you're in London. Clearly the greatest. Have you got a beer mile in Norwich, Rouse?
I don't know. I don't go there often.
Is it just from one Wetherspoon to the next in Norwich?
Conceal, don't feel.
I know.
What's that? Conceal, don't
It's a
feel.
line from Frozen, Dad.
Is it?
Yeah.
What does it mean? Conceal, don't feel. Just keep it inside.
Yeah.
Conceal, don't feel. No, feel. Don't conceal, feel.
I know. There's the Riverside, and that's where all the clubs are.
Is that where all the clubs? Right. Okay, fair enough. Well, the Bermondsey Beer Mile is you're right, Russ. It might be a pretentious London thing. It's where all the microbreweries and micro pubs have popped up just by London Bridge, and it's quite a nice sort of walk for a day out. And I went down there with a few mates. And we just had a walk up and down the beer mile, just experiencing the different pubs and stuff like that, and meeting and chatting with a bunch of different people because it is a really friendly place.
Wow.
Anyway, I've gotten this conversation with a couple of young women in their mid-20s, and my mate Trev, who's a photographer, he's a really good photographer. But I don't think this particular lady was particularly impressed by Trev's portfolio, because Trev does a lot of like really high quality sports stuff, and she just wasn't into sports that much.
Right.
So she turned around to him, and it's the most backhanded insult / compliment I've ever heard. She went, "You really are a legend in your own lunchtime." And a legend in your own lunchtime might be the best compliment / insult I've ever heard in your life. You really are a legend in your own lunchtime. I was just like,
you're so good for what you do.
Yeah, exactly. You're quite good in your niche. It might be really good. So, few things I want to mention while we on the subject, because I'm a legend in my own lunchtime. I'd like to talk about the fact that we've got our book coming out. That is available in October. Raz is reading his Twitter. Are you setting up the Free Norwich or Free Norfolk Twitter account right now?
I'm not. I was checking my emails because but I've been waiting for an email back from someone for Sabella, and it's just come through.
Oh, is it? Right, okay. That's fair enough. Can you focus on one job at a time, Rose? Is that right? Or not?
Sorry.
Um, right.
I need to make sure we're on top of that one.
Oh no, he's on it. He's on it, Charlotte. So let's talk about the book. Book out in October. Russ, if people would like to get a sneaky peek of the book, bucket loads of free content, everything we're throwing at people to make sure that they buy loads of copies of the book, where can they find all of that stuff?
Sign up on the website. Go onto www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. Click on the link that says book. Down at the bottom is a sign up form.
Or just go to www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. Wait about 2 seconds and then it'll pop up for the book to arrive.
I was getting to that next. Thank you.
Sorry.
You can also, via our Facebook page, sign up using the posts that we're posting on there.
Fabulous.
Does this segue into my bit with the socials?
Thank you. And if you'd like to answer the question, who would play you in a movie? You can let us know in the following ways.
Okay, on Facebook, if you type the Kindness Project into the search bar, we should come up. Let us know on there. On Twitter, we're at Ola Kindness. If you want to email us directly, it's ola@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
That was a butt roast moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Butt roast.
Russell already
So many
did
dots.
the website. So many dots. So many you can't even imagine. Russell already did the website. We don't have a MySpace. Do we have?
No,
Reddit?
if you Reddit, no, we haven't got Reddit. If you'd like to get in touch with us by post, how do people do that? The answer is they can't. If they'd like to get in touch with us by pigeon, how do they do that? Attach your note to a pigeon, sling it out the window, and then just shout, "Butt Russ, butt Russ, butt Russ," and it will come straight to us.
But don't put anything valuable in because it might get lost.
Yeah, don't just shout "butt Russ" as it flies away.
Almost swore then.
Oh, the problem is butt Russ. Every time I say it, it sounds like butt roast, and I just. And I can't imagine what that is. Let's move on.
I've been hearing butt rust.
Right, so you got rusty butt. Is that?
You know, that is out.
Butt rust. Oh God, let's move on.
Kindness.
And we have got Celebrity Edition, and this news article comes from today.com. Family helped return William Shatner's wallet after he left it at their fruit stand. So let me talk a little bit about that. Star Trek actor William Shatner accidentally left his wallet at Northern California's fruit stand, but the family who owns the farm, local law enforcement and the Beverly Hills Police Department all worked together to make sure we got it back. The adventure all began last Wednesday at B&T Farms in Gilroy, California. Tognetti's 15-year-old daughter, Sophia, was at work manning her family's getting working early, 15, was at work manning her family's fruit stand when she realised a customer had purchased 2 bags of cherries and corn had driven off without his wallet. The following day, when her dad was around, she mentioned the lost wallet had been found in the fruit stand's corn bin. She had no clue who he was, Tognetti chuckled while recalling the incident to the day. According to her father, father, who is a fourth generation farmer.
Say that 5 times.
Father who's a fourth generation farmer. It's not uncommon for customers to lose or accidentally leave behind their wallets in the bins. Usually, Tognetti does all he can to ensure lost items are returned to the owners. He's called credit card companies and return items by email, but it wasn't until Tognetti took a peek inside of his daughter's latest find that he realised that he was about to embark on a voyage to a very big star known for his role as James T. Kirk on the Star Trek franchise. That was a bit late at that one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy did not drop his wallet, Tognetti explained. He asked his daughter and his co-worker what they recalled of their interaction with the actor. They remembered him because he had a strange request that most people don't need. He wanted 2 baskets of white cherries, 4 red, but he wanted them from the coolers because he said he had a long drive to Beverly Hills. He wanted them cold. He likes his cherries cold. And then he wanted $2 worth of coal, stingy Shatner. Inside $2 worth, he must be worth a mint, Shatner. Could have gone for $4.
Okay. If you went around the shop with $10,
yeah. It is a maths question.
No.
Oh.
And you needed 1 tub of sweet corn or something, and 1 tub of sweet corn is £1.
Yeah.
You don't spend 10 quid on sweet corn just because you got 10 quid.
That's true. He's being very frugal with his sweet corn spend. Inside Tognetti had a driver's license, a COVID-19 vaccine card. Glad to know James T. Kirk is being jabbed, as well as a credit ATM and CVS card, all with Shatner's name on them. I wonder who's been double jabbed. Determined to return the wallet to his rightful owner, Tognetti contacted his friend, Officer Mark Tarasco at the Gilroy Police Department.
I said, hey, this guy left his wallet. Anyway, could you get a hold of him? Tognetti recalled. And he texts back saying, dude, you're joking. There's no way this guy left his wallet at your food stand. What took place soon after was a 2-hour effort in which the Gilroy police connected with the Beverly Hills Police Department in Los Angeles. A text thread between members of the Gilroy and Beverly Hills Police Departments. Then Tognetti was launched in a battle to connect him with him first. The sheriffs were telling the police, hey, you're out of your jurisdiction. You can't be doing this. This is our call. Everyone wanted to find Mr. Shatner and be the ones involved in returning his wallet. It was pretty funny. Eventually, the Beverly Hills police got in touch with Shatner's agent. The wallet was sent via FedEx along with several souvenirs for the actor from Tognetti and the police as well, in addition to some patches from the police department. Tognetti tucked in a hat from B&T Farms that Thursday, and the enterprise was complete by the next day.
The Enterprise, you get that?
No.
Star Trek, no.
Not long after, Shatner thanked Tognetti and his daughter for ensuring his wallet was returned.
And there's a tweet there saying, I'd like to thank Gary and Nestle from B&T Farms for their extreme honesty in returning my lost wallet. They are clearly good citizens. I would also like to thank Officer Mark Tarasco and Sergeant John Ballard from the Gilroy PD. The family-owned farm was quick to respond to the actor's post, writing, it was our pleasure, Mr. Shatner. I grew up watching Star Trek with my dad. B&T Farms and Gilroy Law Enforcement are friendly inhabitants of the Federation, so hold up on hitting them with phasers. Live long and prosper, Sir Shatner. Give us a holler the next time you stop by. What a lovely, lovely, amazing thing to do. Just making sure that, people's lost property gets returned. And I really love that. One of the things that is a positive thing about the online communities we've built around social media is just seeing loads of people working really hard to return lost stuff. I really, really like to see that.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of positive sides of the internet, and I'm definitely glad that it can have that effect despite the other things it can.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's just managing your attention and using it as a tool for good, sort of positivity as opposed to the rest. But the challenge you've got is managing that attention is quite hard. One other thing I want to mention in Kindness News this week is the Happy List 2022. The independent newspaper in the UK is celebrating 50 of the most inspirational people that make life better for others. Now, I've read the article. I'd recommend you do it. We'll put a link on the show notes. There are so many people out there doing like just not small work, because it is like they're all making this positive contribution. So on the BBC Breakfast News this morning, there was a lady who at 100 years old still volunteers at a local hospital cafe, and a guy in an environment where inflation's going up, things are for a lot of families are getting harder to pay for, has started a charity which effectively make sure that school uniforms don't go into landfill, but they get shared with people who need it the most. So what we're going to do, we are going to invite all of the entries of the Independent's Happy List onto the podcast to share their stories. Raz is shaking his head because he knows he's going to get that job.
Mate.
Thanks for doing that, Russ, in advance. Because we'd love to. Part of the reason we do this podcast is to share the amazing stories of really interesting people doing great work across the country. And thanks to the Independent who has collated this to do that. We'll certainly be in touch once we get all your sort of contact details and bits and bobs to share your stories. That this week is Kindness News. Let's move on. The interview of the week, which this week is part 3 of our interview with Steve Donavan from Hornchurch Round Table. Steve definitely is one of the guys who contributes massively to just doing amazing stuff in the world. Shall we listen to the last part of his interview?
Yeah.
I'd imagine. I mean,
Yes.
I suppose
All
part.
local.
And this is a really key factor, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of the big charities get so much prominence just because they've got marketing budgets
Yes,
and big
yes,
teams and
yes,
stuff like that.
yes.
Do you find that some of those local charities often get passed over because they just...
Yeah, I mean, COVID has really made a big impact for some of the charities. Charities also, bigger charities naturally, are now on the cusp of their businesses as well now, aren't they? They have to bring in X amount a year.
Yeah.
And I've worked with a few large charities and realised the pressure, the costs, the causes, etc. It's all money. You need income or you can't survive.
And a significant amount.
And a
for bigger
significant amount,
charities,
right? and publicity costs money.
Yeah.
So, but we reach out. Round Table is fun and fellowship and social, as well as service and charity. That's one of the. It's not all charity, but its main concept is charity.
And I suppose one of the interesting things is that element of just building. And I don't think blokes are particularly good at it. I think, interestingly, if I look at Cassie and I's relationship, she's a lot better at making friends than me. But that community of like-minded people turns into friendships quite quickly, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
I certainly, when I was going to Round Table, didn't go to a group of 10 to 12 people to think I could promote my services or wares. That was the least of my worries. I went there, and within 6 months I was made community person or officer. I didn't even know what to do. I haven't briefed me. I've gone to a meeting. And
by the way, you're a community officer.
Yeah, that's correct. And I said, what's that? He said, you'll soon find out. So anyway, being local, I've hung around for 27 years doing it.
Yeah.
So I do know that it's actually was meant to be. I've enjoyed meeting many groups, individuals, clubs, organisations, single people.
Steve, I think if anybody's going to do it, it should be you.
Well, it's part of travelling around as a rep, seeing properties. It was easy for me to pop off locally to a local group that needed help.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a case that whoever come forward when we campaigned to say we've got some funds, it wasn't like just writing a cheque because they wrote in. They were visited. They were met.
Yeah.
And they were told that we will do our best, but it has to go through a club society vote. Now, we don't make any promises, and I make that clear on the phone, that although the request has been made that they need some help, if it's financial or equipment or some service, I can't promise to do it. I can only get some facts and report back to my fellow members, and it was always done fairly, and most people and individuals, etc., that came forward, I'm pleased to report, over the 27 years have received the help in some shape or form. And most people, and we've taken votes, we've had discussions, and sometimes the discussions can get frank and heated amongst ourselves, but we do it in a balanced way, that it's proposed and seconded, and then the members get a chance to
decide,
increase sometimes the funds needed, or adapt it, or help with their skills. I've had skills being offered in some maintenance and gardening services where builders have offered their services. To add on, not only will they receive funds, they'll get specialist help.
I think the interesting thing, and one of the things that I'm really excited about, because I know that we're doing a sort of school garden project in a couple of weeks that I'm really excited about. And I've got no specialist skills in that area at all, but I'm happy to get stuck in.
Well, at least that's half
the battle. That's half the battle. I wish I had more specialist skills, but I haven't. But part of the sort of the service is often financial, but is often just saying, right, should we just get this project done and moving forward? And that's really exciting. And I know that in the years that you've been involved, there's got to be so many stories of what you're proud of. Talk to me a bit about that.
Many stories. I mean, ranging from the skills of, I come from construction and surveying background, so it's not a problem for me to see a site and work out the
what needs to be done.
I can do all that. That's what I'm trained to do. And with friends and helpers. Some of the requests that we've had, talking about scouts, about 10 years ago, a young scout in Havering, sadly, was going away with his group, and he had to have a special constructed wheelchair, battery operated. We got aware of the request through his family, and ourselves and Upminster Round Table. Sadly, Upminster no longer are going. Their numbers dropped, sadly, but we did it as a joint venture. So we were able to fund a very strong, thick, tired, special adapted outdoor wheelchair, so that young person could go and experience all the camping holidays, go up hills, it was an ATC all weather. And that really did.
I mean, that sounds like a
really
pretty impressive chair.
It was a very good shout, and I really, really liked it. Sadly, many, many years ago, and I'll never forget these two beautiful sisters. They were twins that sadly had the illness on their lungs, which will come to me shortly, which meant that they missed a lot of time of school, and as a result their coursework and everything had to be sent to them. And the teacher of the school asked us, would we be able to purchase perhaps a laptop that could be adapted so that they could get their homework sent to them by email and be able to keep up with the class, because they had illnesses of their lungs, sadly. And this is 20 odd years ago. Laptops were very expensive. I went round the local Romford stores and they were 1,500 to 2,000 each. But what goes around comes around, and I brought this up one night for a discussion with my friends, and one of the people who was my president at the time had a friend that worked for ICL, and we reached out to ICL and explained this story, that these two beautiful young girls were struggling with homework and that because they were very sick. Could we be able to get them some laptops? And ICL were marvellous and sent us free of charge 2 laptops.
Amazing.
With modem attachments.
And this is
they could attach it to the homework, and the teacher could keep in touch with the girls.
Love that.
And
when actually it wasn't that common,
and it wasn't common, and preloaded it with Encyclopedia Britannica.
Love that.
And gave them everything they needed.
But this is the weird thing. I know it's easy to point out the times when people aren't particularly generous.
No.
But actually, I think sometimes when you're given the opportunity, part of it is, like, as you say, you went to that company and they were massively generous.
Were absolutely.
Yeah.
It was really, really lovely of them to help us with this lovely, lovely family.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very touching story, and we told the recorder about it, and they sent a journalist out, which was even nicer to let everyone see the goodwill, the children are happy.
And you've got a special folder, haven't you, of all the stuff
I have, and I've got it laminated going back. Well, certainly for 10 years, I've got many stories of this wonderful goodwill, all causes. A special lady needed to go swimming, so we got her a special dry suit that she can swim and keep her heart monitor under the
so she could experience
absolutely go out in the on holiday and everything, because she couldn't catch any viral water infection. She had a special suit made for her, and it could be adjusted as she grew. So that was a nice, we've done gardens. We've done what they call sensory garden for a child that is all smelling plants.
Yeah.
We can landscape and build a 360 circle cement path. So
they can feel their way.
Their way round the garden and put nice fencing and a gate in. This was through our friends of builders and associates, and obviously we funded the materials, but the labour was the most important. Our friends done it. We done it together.
Yeah. So it's about getting involved actively in the community as well.
Yeah.
And I suppose being a effectively a national organisation, but with local chapters,
presence,
you can actually turn around and go, what's the biggest issue in my area at the minute? And I know that, and part of the conversation we had on Wednesday about that was about inflation, like the cost of living, and supporting people directly.
Correct.
And I suppose being quite a sort of, you look at some of these big charities, and we support those big charities and have them tell their stories on the podcast. But one of the things that big charities aren't particularly good at is turning around and go, right, we're going to make a decision now, get that money directly, and it's going to have an immediate impact. Just because, and Round Table can do that, right?
Well, we can work quick, even though you've mentioned earlier, you've just jogged up my memory on 2 national charities. Samaritans, for example, about 10 years ago, some of the office furniture and equipment was getting a bit tatty.
Yeah.
So they reached out to us, and it was no issue at all. Within a week, some of the office furniture and the sofas and that was delivered. And the following year, I think we may have given a computer. So we can work fairly quick. I appreciate, you're right, decisions take time, but if 2-3 months waiting for items of equipment or furniture or service is too long,
and that's why those
we can come in and do it quick.
So it's supporting people at the time they need it when they do it. And talk to me a little bit. I know we spoke a little bit about the Santa sleigh. Spoke a little bit about the firework displays.
The firework displays.
Talk to me a bit about how Hornchurch Round Table raise money, but how people raise money generally within Round Table.
I mean, naturally, Chris, you mentioned earlier about the fundraising, which the main event for us is the Christmas collection.
Yeah.
But prior to COVID, I'd say up to 4 or 5 years ago, we used to have a yearly dance, like a dinner and dance called Ladies' Night. We're year-end dance to bring our partners, our wives and partners with us for a year-end dance, and money raised on the night we would then put into a central pot, and some of that money would go to charity if it was, we did a James Bond night where people came as characters of James Bond. Like one lady came covered in gold. One person came as a deep sea diver.
Right.
Everyone
Amazing.
considers James Bond in his black suit.
I mean, the
theme
thing
of James
is,
Bond was all the other characters.
do you then get? I mean, the problem is with that.
Yeah.
Do you get then just 50 James Bonds in, like people just wearing their tux?
No.
What
Some
was
of
your
these
favourite
people-
James Bond
there were some
outfit?
people come as the villains. Some came in the deep sea divers suits.
Gotcha.
Some people.
Tell me
with
there
all
was a
the
Jaws there.
characters.
Tell me there was a
There
Jaws.
wasn't a Jaws because no one was high enough, tall enough. But there was some very, very good characters.
Have you seen the modern James Bond films?
I have. Yes.
What's your favourite James Bond film ever?
I think the concept and the way it's changed, for me, will always be the Casino Royale.
Okay.
I think the last one also.
I haven't watched it all the way through
I
yet.
won't say anything.
Yeah.
I think Casino Royale just made a big, sweeping, cutting statement.
What, in terms of the Daniel Craig?
that
Yeah.
I'm arrived, and I think with him doing a lot of his stunts himself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a great story on the beginning of the opening first one where the guy just turned up with his rucksack with no wires or lines, and he said, "I'm ready to go." And obviously, the actors have to be specially prepped for this. Steel cranes and all that. But the other person, I believe, was a freebaser, world freebaser, and he had no need for anything. He was all good to go.
But you know what? I can't remember the other. I think it was one of the later the Daniel Craig ones, where they got the guy doing the stunts was a parkour champion, and he's just used to running without anything, you know.
Absolutely, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So who did you go as?
Do you know what, Chris? I'm going to be boring. I went in the traditional black. I organised it. It took a lot of my energy, but we did it with we had the tables.
Yeah.
Obviously, roulette table. We had the music. We had the theme music, and a very, very good local DJ. Really good. Who also does a lot of work for charity as well. Paul Kidley. He was very good, and. It was hosted. Obviously, we gave prizes for the winners because there was fake money. You can't go in and take people's cash.
No,
but there was money, and the winners of whoever got the most got nice boxes of chocolates and a bottle of champagne, etc. But it was done in the goodwill. You paid for your. I think they had to pay some entrance fee or whatever. I forgot.
So fake money gambled,
fake
and then
money
there's a prize at the end.
and then the prize at the end. But that night raised about £1,000.
Amazing.
So that not only was the meal cost very low, but that raised nearly £1,000, and we had having fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hard to sell the tickets because people wanted to come. I think we had 140, 150
and that
people.
goes back to the thing, Steve.
With partners.
Round Table is a really good way of giving people the opportunity to have some fun.
Yes.
But also raise a bit of cash
Raise a little bit of cash, the profile. We're having a good night out.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even though, to be frank, Steve, going as James Bond to a 00, you want to go as Blofeld or somebody different. Who would you, if you could do it again and you weren't organising it? Who would you go as?
I don't know. I wouldn't say Odd Job.
Don't go painted in gold.
No, I'm not going to go painted in gold.
Too tall for Odd Job.
I think you know what, you've got. Can't go as Scaramanga, can I? Really? Because you have to have an open chest, don't you? But there's some great characters.
Oh, amazing!
I mean,
Love it.
I sometimes.
I mean, you could go as Austin Powers, as like a parody of James
funny
Bond.
enough, Austin Powers, you've led me to my second one, which was a 70s night, a 60s night, and I did go as Austin Powers.
Oh, cool.
And the dress high shop said I could keep the uniform for a week.
Right.
And I visited a person that was sick in hospital, and I went up on the train in my crushed red velvet suit, going, "Yeah, baby," to everybody. I was making everyone on the King's Road, London, when I visited a sick friend, laugh her head off.
Oh, amazing.
I went with the wig, the glasses, with no glass, just the black rimmed glasses, going, "Yeah, baby." 20 odd years ago, down the King's Road in London, everybody was crying with laughter. I was just off to see a very dear friend in hospital, and so we did a 60s night and a 70s soul night, and everyone come as characters.
Amazing.
And I once went as an American hustler and on another function. But we've had some good social dances and drinks, and you know, it's the other side of the group. There's a good social link.
So really good laugh, raising loads of money.
Yes, it is.
You know, fun and service as a combination is a really incredible thing. And Round Table's grown in size since
it has. I mean, naturally. Sadly, numbers have dropped. In the UK in the late 70s, I do know there was 30,000 across the country.
Right.
Now, sadly, it's down to about 3,000.
Okay.
But it is building up again. You know, there are lots of people joining, and we're reaching out to lots of people, like many societies in the country. Networking or service clubs like Round Table, Rotary and other groups, perhaps Lions Group, also a very good group as well for service and community. There's so many. The Masons, also a very good group, wonderful for charity as well. I think perhaps the work pressures have got something to do with this. Some people in London are probably doing, all around the country, working very long hours. The thought of perhaps once or twice a month to some people, meeting on the first and third Wednesday, the pressures at home, family, work-life balance. I don't know, Chris. We are on a campaign to find more people. We have to recruit.
You know what's interesting, though, Steve, and I talk about this.
And I brought in 6 people recently.
Yeah, that's amazing, But it's interesting when you think about, you know, people not having time. I think the pandemic and COVID, in my experience, has made people look at their lives a bit more and say, okay, what do you want to do, and what's the right balance between, you know, if we're doing 60, 70, 80-hour weeks,
you're too tired.
You just don't want to do it.
No.
But also, are you happy just working hard and not doing other stuff that's going to be fun?
As I said earlier, this to me was like a glove to a hand. The table for me, because I work local, I could go to visit people for the charitable stuff. And also, I was quite good at organising as a kid. I seemed to be able to get together projects and plans, always had something in my mind, write it in my black book, and then come back to work and develop it. I think once when I worked for a national corporation, I organised a darts and snooker competition and brought along some famous people. I was hoping I'd get a promotion. In fact, they said to me, "You're in the wrong job. You're better at public relations and selling property." I did it to enhance.
You're better at the event management.
I was better on event management. I got all London and Essex-based branches together for a darts tournament and a snooker tournament, and organised it myself. And I was very lucky. And I thank the brilliant secretary from the British Darts Organisation, because I used to play in the darts leagues, that helped me. He was able to organise 12 lots of darts matches at the same time. He was a brilliant all-rounder, and he knew all about organisation with me, and we put together a big corporate night where because darts, we wanted people to speed up. It was speed darts, so your matches, whoever won after 15 minutes, so we could get people, about 150 people moved along to play
so it was
games.
quite a big event.
So it was well organised, and it was with a master of ceremonies, and the snooker was on a time, 20-minute frame. So you had to hurry up to get to your next game.
Speed snooker.
I like the idea of that. The quarter-final was half an hour, the semi-final was 3/4 of an hour, and 1 hour for the final.
Fair enough.
And it was, I'll tell you what, we really did have some very good players.
Amazing.
There's a few guys that come along, they must have had a good misspent youth, because they could play.
They could play.
I was quite impressed. I thought I could play. I got to the semis of the darts, and one guy beat me. But I do know I was very impressed with some of the local snooker players.
I don't know if everybody's the same, but I'm always a better. I haven't played much snooker. I played a bit of pool. I'm always better one beer in. I'm always better one beer in, and then 2 beers, it all goes wrong.
I'm the opposite. I think darts and snooker seems to be. It depends if you practice enough, but with darts, I found drinking helped me.
Right, fair enough. And I suppose the sport in more recent times has gone completely anti-alcohol, and like the best darts players are like the best any sports players, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to 2 years ago. I went to the quarterfinals of Alexandra Palace, and it does seem to me that they're incredible, the speed and the accuracy.
That's a really good day out as well.
That is a very good day out. I think the fans enjoy it. There's a lot of beer and goodwill, and noise, and the kiss of telegrams and all the machine and all the TV companies and have made it better.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a great atmosphere. And
So, Steve, what I want to talk about is how, if you're, and we have listeners from listeners to this podcast all over the country and actually all over the world.
Yes.
But for people who are listening either locally, or somewhere else in the UK, how do they get involved with Round Table? How do they find out more?
First of all, Chris, if any of the readers would like to reach out to you, I would certainly get 100%. Them in the right direction.
Yeah.
There is a national website for Round Table, and it's in Birmingham at Marchese House, roundtable.org.
So www.roundtable.org. Yeah.
Yes, I believe that it is. I'm just looking at their website. I've got it's Marchese House, and it's Round Table.
Yeah.
I drew down on my form here. I thought. Oh yes, I've got their. It's roundtable.co.uk.
Okay.
So it's in simple terms. It's Google roundtable.co.uk, which will go to the national website.
Fab, and you can find about all of the local.
Yes, just leave a link, and they'll get back to you. They're lovely staff there, and I do ring them from time to time, and. They will then get in touch and advise you of your local district. So as you know, we're a national group. There's tables all around the country, and if anyone's listening or would like a quicker response, if they get back to you, all you've got to do is send me a link, and I'll make sure they get in the right direction.
And what we'll do, if you're listening to this and want to know more, we'll make sure that the show notes for this podcast that you can find at www.thekindnessproject.co.uk will contain all of the links, including the ones to the Round Table and the ones to get in touch direct. So Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's nice, Chris, to bring me here today, and thank you for what you've done. I think you mentioned this is 220 odd episodes.
Yeah, we're growing and growing and growing, and for some reason we are the fourth most popular podcast about kindness in the world. So sharing your story is an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. And as I said, I know that. I've only given a quick overview today on the journey, but there's still so much to do, and I'm glad that so far.
And the journey continues.
It does continue.
As long as next time you go to a fancy dress, you do better than a black tie, I'll be happy.
Well, indeed, Chris. Well, I'll leave it with you. But if the readers do want to get in touch, it'll be a pleasure to help you.
Amazing. Thanks, Steve. Cheers.
So that was the last part of the interview with Steve. We've got another amazing guest next week, so we'd recommend you tune in. We've got Louise Murdy from HBBS Counselling. Really excited about interviewing Louise. Feel free to stay tuned for that.
Tis the end of another podcast. The end is never truly the end. The end is always the beginning of something entirely new.
And the question we asked last time was, what's the best thing you've bought off of Amazon? And actually, we didn't have that much engagement. We only had one from Dennis Hall that effectively said Prime subscription. And I agree with Dennis, Prime subscription is pretty good. Mm-hmm. I think people may have been a little bit embarrassed about what they've been buying off Amazon. And on that note, that's the end of another podcast. We will see you next time on The Kindness Project.
Bye.
Bye.